What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Tuesday, July 25th, 2017. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the busiest lady in the business, Andrea Renee.
Hello, Mr. Miller.
Hello, how are you?
You know, I'm just starting to recover from being gone on my trip, and then I went right back into shooting this show, and then I went straight to Comic-Con.
Sure.
And now I'm back. And
How
the
long have you
girls
been at
are here
Comic-Con?
tomorrow. I was there all weekend, actually. I got there on Thursday. We high-fived in the sky. And as you were on your way back.
It was one of those, I think I saw you tweeting about being like there, and I was like, did she just land on the Virgin America flight that I'm boarding? Because it was one of those that
It's
people
very
are coming. I
possible.
never looked up. I was just screwing on my phone. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was great. The panel for Life is Strange Before the Storm went really fantastically. We did a live playthrough of a scene, which was really fun.
Yeah.
And then I guest hosted on Marvel Gaming. I believe that episode's going out today.
Okay.
I think, but we talked about what they were showing at the conference, and I got the chance to play Marvel Powers United VR.
Oh, very nice.
Which was really fun.
I hosted the Marvel Games panel, and that was one of the ones we were talking about. I didn't. It's funny when we went to do the Lone Echo or Echo Arena Let's Play that'll go up as a party mode, I think next week. Walking in there and seeing it, I was like, oh yeah, and then it was Sanzaro doing it, or Sanzaro, and I'm like, oh man, the Sly Cooper guys. Like I haven't. And then Matt Kramer was on the panel with us, and I was like, I haven't seen him in years. It was great. What did you think?
I thought it was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you want me to go into my full impressions here, but I got to play as Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah.
I got to grab grenades, throw the grenades. I was dual wielding my guns. You get to fly.
Yeah.
It was great.
Fucking rad. That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
And then my big question, Life is Strange Before the Storm. Looking good?
It looks excellent.
Okay, good. You know, I'm a big fan. I don't want them to screw it up. Was it jarring not having Ashley's voice as Chloe?
No,
Okay.
the actress that they got is doing a really fantastic job of embodying that character. There's a full developer diary out now on the Square Enix channel if you guys want to watch like in detail about her talking about taking on that role, working with Ashley from a behind-the-scenes perspective.
Got it.
Saved it. Because Ashley is writing on the project.
Right.
Because if you guys didn't hear, she can't be the voice actor for Chloe because of the strike that's happening right now.
So weird, right? Yeah, Ashley Birch, of course, you know, known for that character and now known for Aloy, I think. But the fact that, she wasn't doing the voice, like, oh, okay, and then, but she's writing it, oh, okay, and then she put out a tweet of like, I would have loved to voice the character again, but the SAG strike, like, oh, right, I forgot all about that.
So she's still working on the project.
Yeah, it's interesting those like ripples finally being felt. Because I think, you know, with contracts and all these different things, you're never sure when the other shoe's going to drop and you're going to see, okay, this is what the strike's actually doing to video games. But here we are.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, if you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily each and every week. Nope, that's not right. This is a different show. Each and every day, we jump into the nerdy video game news you need to know about, get our hands really dirty, dig into it, talk about the top stories, answer your questions, go through the bad PSN names, talk to Shuhei, all the stuff you'd expect. Remember, this is streamed live as we record it on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. And if you catch us screwing anything up live, go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. You can post all the stuff we screw up there, correct us there. No editorializing. I just want to know the right things that we got wrong. That's it. Nothing else. Of course, if you're watching later, maybe you're watching on youtube.com/kindafunnygames or listening on a podcast service around the globe. Wherever you are, thank you for consuming the content. Please do me a solid. Rate it. Subscribe to all the channels. Even if you're watching in one place or listening somewhere else, it would mean a lot if you went to the other places. Thumbed up, rated, whatever the hell. Post a review. Doesn't matter. Party mode is up right now on patreon.com/kindafunnygames. It'll be up tomorrow for everybody on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. And remember, Kinda Funny Live 3 is also up right now on both of the Patreons at the $10 level. If you don't want to pay for it, no big deal. You can get it next week on Monday. Are you ready to begin, Andrea?
I am ready to begin. Let's go.
Let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. That was better, Kev. Better. I like that. You're getting there. 4 items on the Roper Report.
Oh, Baker's dozen.
He's got that down. He's got that down. No problem. The first item on the Roper Report, and I went to Twitter today asking about where I should put this because it's an interesting thing. For the first time ever, we have a correspondent filing a report. First item on the Roper Report is none other than Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Well, not yet. No, hold on. Kick me back. It's fine. No, you did fine, Cool Greg. Cool Greg's learning the board over there. He's doing fine. What happened is, there was an Uncharted event down in LA. They're doing them all over the world for people to go play The Lost Legacy, get some hands-on time with it. Kinda Funny was invited, and I was like, cool, can we do a Let's Play? And they're like, no. And I'm like, I don't really want to ruin the experience for myself then. I'm not going to worry about it too much. However, SanchoWest, Kinda Funny best friend, of course, you know him from youtube.com/SanchoWest and twitch.tv/SanchoWest. He went down there for us. He saw it for his own channel. He's going to put up comprehensive coverage on his stuff and all sorts of things. But he wanted to file a report, so here it is. Sancho.
Thank you, Greg and Andrea. And hello to kind of funny best friends all over the world. I spent about 40 minutes playing Uncharted The Lost Legacy at a preview event in Los Angeles about a week ago. And I would like to thank PlayStation for having me out there. Now, the one message that I want to drive home to you guys watching and listening right now is do not sleep on this game. I know that's kind of a strange thing to say for a Naughty Dog game, but seriously, do not sleep on this game. Don't say it's just more Uncharted or just Uncharted DLC. This is more than that. And by saying that, you will be doing a huge disservice to the game itself and to what Naughty Dog is trying to do. With Uncharted The Lost Legacy, Naughty Dog is pushing the industry standard for DLC, just like they did with Last of Us Left Behind. And I'm just saying this, guys. Right now, we are seeing a studio evolve right before our eyes. And for those of you who are listening right now on the podcast, I do have some awesome Uncharted Lost Legacy footage. And if you are there listening right now or watching, don't worry, guys. I won't have any kind of crazy spoilers or anything like that. I'll keep this impressions as generic as possible. Regarding the demo itself, it happens right after the riverboat scene, and you see Chloe and Nadine. They pull up to this big area of the Western Ghats, and it's Chapter 4. And here is what I like to call Naughty Dog accomplishes, what is, I say, the open world chapter. That's right. Naughty Dog has made an open world experience. And so this whole Western Ghats is your sandbox to play in. And just the thought of it that Naughty Dog has designed this playbox gets me really excited. So basically, Chloe opens up this map, which is the equivalent of Nathan Drake's journal. She draws and doodles on this map. And this map is this huge stage. And Naughty Dog is like saying, go ahead, accomplish these objectives however you want, and we will keep up with you, which is really awesome about this, because I was told by Naughty Dog is that the scenes and the dialogue and all that kind of stuff will change on base how you tackle the objectives. And the best part about Naughty Dog's open world is how simple it is, polished and refined. It's not cluttered with crazy UI, and when you open up the map, there's just not glittered with all these icons and side quests. No, everything's there for the purpose. Even the enemy NPCs, they have a purpose. They're there to either like tell a little bit more of the story, or they're just not there just sleeping on a campground or anything like that. So I would be amiss not to compare it to Ubisoft titles or compare it to Breath of the Wild. I would say that those are just huge proportions, those are huge maps, and I really feel that Naughty Dog gets the design correct. And to put this game in a metaphor, it's like a gourmet dish. Everything on the plate has a purpose. It's artistic, it's beautiful, the design, all of it, and it's really, really, really delicious. And I really believe that's what Naughty Dog has here with their open world experience right there. That's what I think is the real story here for Uncharted The Lost Legacy, is Naughty Dog learning and building on what they've learned before in the past. So you had the Madagascar chapter in Uncharted 4, like I said, and they built that. They went from a wide linear experience to an open world experience. And that's what's really cool. And that's what's really admirable into what Naughty Dog does as a studio. Rather than doing a cut and paste job, they went ahead and challenged themselves, and they were able to turn around in 10 months time and made an open world experience. And not only that, it will still have the moment to moment action. They will still have the Uncharted tropes, and they will still have the awesome cinematics that you will always love. But now you have an open world experience on top of that layer. So you got this really awesome gourmet dish. I don't know why I'm going back to that, but it just makes so much sense. And I'll leave you guys with this. I could not get a gameplay time from Naughty Dog while I was there. However, I do agree with Neil Druckmann when he tweeted out to savor it. And I cannot wait to savor this game more on August 22nd when it comes out. Thank you guys so much for having me. This is SanchoWest. Thank you to all the kind of funny best friends. Back to you, Greg and Andrea.
Thank you, Sancho.
He did an excellent job.
Didn't he? He's awesome. Hit him up on youtube.com, SanchoWest, and then Twitch, SanchoWest as well. Really great, yeah. And so I like that it was a short thing, didn't spoil too much. And this has been the big news story today. Why I think this fits into the Roper Report is the fact that this is the first time they're out there saying this is an open world area from Naughty Dog in an Uncharted game, and tackle this however you want to. And I think that's interesting for a number of reasons. Of course, back at E3, there was I think we talked about it here on Games Daily at some point. There was a pull quote of like, yeah, will Naughty Dog ever do an open world game? And there was an idea like, we've thought about it, we've tinkered with it, but we don't know. And I think this is an interesting step forward for it. So interesting that Breton wrote in to kindafunny.com/KFGD, just like you can, to be part of the show, and says, hey, Greg and Danny, Andrea, I don't know how I say at the end of every episode who the next episode will be. Come on. Andrew. IGN posted an article today about Uncharted The Lost Legacy having a chapter that provides, quote, the most openness in an Uncharted game yet, end quote. Do you think that this is Naughty Dog testing the waters on what an open world game for their studio can be? Andrea.
I don't think Naughty Dog needs to make an open world Uncharted game. I think they have a very specific style for this franchise, and it's been working for them. Players love the narrative aspect of it. I think it's a really nice blend of open areas and, scripted linear sequences, and I think that that's fine.
I agree. I would go as far as say this is them testing it, though. I don't think they're testing it for Uncharted, for the future of Uncharted.
Maybe they're testing it for TLU 2.
Yeah, or whatever comes after Uncharted for that team. You know what I mean? I think they are such an interesting team in terms of how many games they work on, the way they move their staff around, that if anybody has an idea for an open world, you have to sit there and be like, well, how does that work and how do you do it? And I think a chapter in Uncharted, the Lost Legacy, makes sense, right? Because it is like, well, how would that affect our dialogue? We're a studio that hangs our hats on interactions and characters.
I don't necessarily think this is a test because in Uncharted 4 there were open world areas.
Sure.
I mean,
similar with the Jeep area, right?
Right, not like large areas, and there wasn't like a lot of reasons to go explore every nook and cranny of where you could drive the car.
Trophies.
Well, okay.
Knock down all those stone things.
But so I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me that a development studio as advanced as Naughty Dog would need to use a game as a test. But, what do I know?
I know, nothing, and neither do I. So that's why it's always fun for us to sit here as morons and talk about it. But I think that, from what they're saying, this is the most open, right? So it's taking what they did in Uncharted 4 with that Jeep section and expanding even further, I guess, and seeing how that would work. And it would be interesting, I guess, in a decade to look back and be like, well, were there the seeds of something that eventually came to be over here? Or is this just that, they wanted to screw around and do something different? It is exciting in the fact that, I keep talking, first off, Sancho, I don't like you stealing my don't sleep on this. All right. I'm the guy saying don't sleep on Uncharted The Lost Legacy. I've been saying that on all these shows. But it is interesting that, my takeaway from the demo we saw at E3 and what I've heard or seen in things is like, okay, cool. It's Uncharted, it's going to be great. It's going to be long. It's two different characters, fine. But then you look at things, and what I was talking about yesterday, actually, on talking about Uncharted, was the fact that it's using the same stuff as Uncharted 4, right? There's more Jeeps driving around there. Okay, we've seen that. We've seen Chloe throw the rope. We've seen all the different, that armored truck chase you with the gun and stuff. Like, okay, you're using Uncharted assets, Uncharted ideas. I like the idea that they're taking Uncharted 4 assets and getting me a game quicker, but then also still expanding on it. So it isn't exactly cut and paste Uncharted 4 again, just with different characters.
Yeah.
I don't want to play it and feel like, oh, I've seen all this before. I've done all this before.
Right.
Even though it's Uncharted.
I mean, I was going to say, and for people who are listening to the show and not watching, I highly recommend you to check out the YouTube video for today's show, because he very kindly put up some B-roll of some gameplay, and it really looks beautiful.
Yeah,
not
that was provided by PlayStation.
We would expect anything less from Naughty Dog, but if you guys want to check out some gameplay of this open world that he is describing, you can see that on the video.
Well, that was my big takeaway from the E3 behind closed doors demo, is that they climbed up a spot as Chloe and then did the E3 slow pan of the camera around you, and you're like, holy shit, this is fucking huge. This doesn't look like, and it's funny because Sancho in the front said, oh, they're redefining what DLC can be, and I guarantee back at the studio, Kurt winced, right? Because it's like, oh, they don't like thinking it is a DLC anymore. It's not. Yeah. It's standalone for $40. You can buy it as a disc. You can buy it standalone off the PlayStation Store. If you did buy the season pass, you got it as Steel, because they didn't expect the game to be as big as it. It has a platinum. It has the Uncharted 4 multiplayer. I'm fascinated to see. Is this one of the games that's on your short list to get played here next month?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks fantastic, and we got these two awesome characters who are teaming up, and they're characters who I think didn't get enough time in previous games. So yeah, I'm definitely playing this.
For me, it's like when I get that's similar to Patapon level of like, life's over with. That's what we're doing. I'm playing. Like Neil Druckmann can say, savor it as much as you want. You can go fuck yourself, Neil. I'm playing through this as fast as possible.
Yeah, but if he's saying savor, does that mean it's going to be short? Like really short?
I don't know. They've kicked around that 10-hour thing for so long, right? And I'm sure to get the platinum, I'll have to play it again. So whatever.
Yeah.
And Uncharted Platinums, who doesn't love a good Uncharted Platinum?
They just start at easy difficulty, and then go back and play it on each difficulty level.
No,
then you'll really
normal,
savor
get crushing
it
out there. You get it all done. You got to go back, get all your kills and stuff. I'm excited, but yesterday there was a kid who was saying like he wasn't, because he's like and it was an interesting take on it. The fact that Uncharted 4 was the end of Nate's story, and it ended so perfectly, and it was over. And now to go back in there and be like, oh, do I need more Uncharted? Was I craving more Uncharted? I definitely wasn't craving more of Nate's story, I don't think. But like what you're saying is, I've fucking loved Nadine in Uncharted 4. I thought she was a great character, and obviously everybody loves Chloe. The idea of them in this like buddy cop movie all of a sudden, seeing what happens, I'm like, yeah, I want to see what that's about.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Well, thank you again, SanchoWest, August 22nd. You get that there. Naughty Dog game, Uncharted, The Lost Legacy. Moving on to the second item on the Roper Report. Walmart has admitted that it fucked up with the SNES pre-order and it might cancel them. There was a whole bunch of stuff that's getting around. Polygon had this little blip in one of their larger articles. Walmart's support account on Twitter continues to inform people that the retailer's website pushed pre-orders live early. You see this happen? Were you living this on Friday night?
So I secured 3 SNES Classic pre-orders.
You're gonna go sell them on the black market?
No.
Put your kids through college one day?
No, one's for me. One is for maybe somebody as a gift,
Sure.
and then one is for Brittany Brombacher.
Of course, yeah.
Because I had to get one for my girl.
Because she's obsessed.
She is. And she
good
was out
games?
doing something, she couldn't get one. So
Well, that was what happened for us. Is that Tim and Gia, Jen and I were out to dinner, and I think he went up to the bathroom. I looked at my phone, and I was like, and I started pulling all out. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "SNES pre-orders are up. I'm gonna."
we were in the middle of dinner too.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
were at Comic-Con. I was sitting at the bar getting a quick dinner before heading to the IGN party
Yeah.
with John Drake and
Your husband.
Yes, and I get a text from Neha,
Yeah.
a good friend of mine who works at YouTube
Gaming.
and she's like, "Girl, did you see the pre-orders go
Yeah,
up?"
yeah.
And I don't even respond to her. I just click the link
Sure.
and whip out my credit card, and I'm like, "This is not gonna pass me by. I'm getting a pre-order." But now I've been trying to get so John has the order numbers in his email, and I'm trying to get him to forward them to me so I can call Walmart and
hack
be
it all
like,
up.
"Hey, you didn't cancel my thing,
Well,
did
that's
you?"
the thing, right? Because they're sending out cancelizations if they got canceled. It's interesting that they finally did admit, because when this happened, everybody's like, this has to be a fuck up, right? Nobody else is putting these up right now.
Right. So what I've seen, and I tweeted about this earlier this morning, is that some people have said theirs have been canceled, but a lot more people have said, "Hey, mine's still up. No one's canceled mine." I got linked to a message from Walmart's customer service on Twitter saying, "No, we're not canceling pre-orders." But now other people from Walmart are saying, "Yes, we are canceling." So
Well, this is the problem when you have these, like, when you go and talk to like the chat or everybody, right?
Yeah.
Because Polygon's thing continues. A representative named Red has tweeted at 7 different customers in the past 2 hours to say that, quote, "This item was made available by accident. However, the company still hasn't said whether it's canceling all pre-orders, and Walmart has not responded to Polygon's request for comment."
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's that they maybe sold too many pre-orders and they only had enough pre-orders for a set amount of units, and then they just didn't turn them off quick enough before they got into the system, or if it was all a mistake and Nintendo is now taking Walmart to task to be like, "Hey,
It has to be,
you
right?
weren't supposed to do that."
There has to be
Because I'm
some unified date they wanted.
Best Buy and GameStop
Amazon.
and Target, everybody went to Nintendo and was like, "WTF,
Yeah.
Nintendo? What about us? What about our pre-orders?"
And that's what's interesting is, like, does everybody know their allotment really of what they're getting, or was it that they built it and then somebody hit a button and it
Great
crossed?
question.
Because that's always the trouble I've heard behind the scenes with anything like this that comes out. It's like, okay, cool. It's honestly, from what I hear through the grapevine, is that it's down to the wire a lot of times in terms of like who's getting what and what Best Buy gets and what Amazon gets and what.
But speaking of Nintendo and
Andrew
classic
away.
editions, I just saw a breaking news story. The NES Classic Edition now back in stock in a special bundle on ThinkGeek. So I went to ThinkGeek. So this story is appearing on a couple different places, but I found it as breaking news on GameSpot. It's coming back as a special bundle that is the cheapest of which costs $140. So it includes the NES Classic Edition, the controller, and then various toys. So a Zelda puzzle, a Mario Piranha Plant puppet, Chad, 3 pieces of
Mario
exclusive canvas art. The bundles range from $140 up to $220 and come with a variety of toys, like I mentioned. So I went to the website to click on these bundles and check them out, and the page is down. So I don't know if that's because like people have flooded the page, or if because ThinkGeek is like, "Oops, we weren't supposed to release these yet." Hopefully, we'll have an update for you guys on that either later in the show or tomorrow.
what's your take? We talked a little bit of this yesterday. What is your take with the SNES Classic and how it's already being handled, and that it's the same idea that Nintendo had before of shortages? Will there be enough? Pandemonium, this kind of thing.
Well, I know that you guys talked a little bit about it yesterday, but I just don't understand why Nintendo is holding back units. Like, clearly the demand is overwhelming. So unless you're planning to increase the price point to, offset the demand, that's economics 101, folks.
There it is, yeah.
Right? Like, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
If you want to make more money, either make more units and sell them at a lower price, or if you're going to keep your demand or your supply low, raise the price. I don't understand. I'm confused.
They seem to be a company that just loves headlines and loves being on those hottest toys to get, hardest things to find at Christmas
but
list.
they're already accomplishing that with Switch.
I know. And Switch is one where they're actually like, we just don't have the components to make it. They're like, we're in a bidding war with iPhone. Whereas this is like, we'll do the normal Nintendo thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
Mr.
either.
Nintendo, call us up sometime.
Mr. Nintendo.
Number 3, Eurogamer asked the Mario Kart director Yabuki why there is a blue shell in Mario Kart. This isn't so much news; it's just some really introspective stuff.
Say,
from
what
Yabuki.
is this doing on the news?
I just thought it was an interesting. He has all these quotes right about it, so I'm just gonna read all his quotes from it here about like, so why are there blue shells in the game? Have you ever thought about removing them? And he goes, something I personally really consider is the human emotion element of the play experience. So, for example, playing Mario Kart. If you have something that feels unfair or makes you feel frustrated or makes you angry, everyone is different in that respect. What you will feel as unfair might be different to someone else. As far as possible, we want to avoid those feelings of frustration. We have tried, or we are. This is interesting. We have tried, or we are trying to see what the game's like without the blue shell. When we've experimented without the blue shell, actually it feels like something's missing. Like there's something not quite enough in the game. So, for now, we've kept it in. Sometimes life isn't fair. Sometimes in life, you have something where you feel that it's not right, and that's frustrating. Deep, man. Deep about life not being fair and sometimes not being... I can't imagine... Could you ever imagine Mario Kart without the blue shell?
Yeah.
No. Andrea, no.
Yeah.
Pish posh, please.
I could. The blue shell is clearly an iconic piece of that franchise, but there is so much more that defines Mario Kart as a game, and as a game across many different generations of consoles and for fans. So yes, I can't imagine a Mario Kart without the blue shell.
See, if anything, what I'd rather see them do, and I guess they do it. I was gonna say no items or something like that, which you can do in multiplayer races. Because that's what I love about Smash is the ability to go in there and turn off all the certain things one by one. And I know there's different options for multiplayer races to do that, but
just an update.
Here we go.
The Think Geek Twitter account has said that massive traffic has hugged the page to death. Our code monkeys are on it. So if you guys are out there and you missed the NES Classic and you want to get one of these bundles, it is on thinkgeek.com, and you can go there and then just keep refreshing until the page comes back up, I guess.
Yeah, until the monkeys get it working again. See, I think the thing about Mario Kart, right, is if you wanted like the sim racer, if you wanted just to be racing, you would just go play another racer, right? The blue shell is there
blue shell
to be an everyman tool.
The gameplay
it's there
of
to make sure
Mario Kart.
Anyone has a chance at winning, Andrea.
Yeah, but
when Zyger's out there, you can throw it and take him out.
As a very competent Mario Kart player, that the blue shell does not make or break a match for you. If you are doing good enough, like people like you and I usually are when we race Mario Kart, the blue shell can hit you multiple times and you'll still take home that W.
Yeah. Isn't that right, Zyger? Number 4, final item on the Roper Report. Phil Spencer's talking about Xbox One X pre-orders. Over on Twitter, somebody asked basically, when are they going up? And he responded, our plan is set for this. All approvals are done, so now just landing the announce with all the info won't be too much longer. So no date, but it's coming up.
Yeah, well, we knew that. And because this was a really short item, I added one.
There we go. Thank you. What do you got for me, Andrew?
So I found this, and I wanted to bring it up because it's a callback to a prediction I made during our E3 prediction show for the Gamecast. Okay. So on the Gamecast predictions, I said, I think The Sims 4 is going to come to console. Sure. And I thought it was going to be announced at the EA press conference.
Right.
They announced
swing and a miss.
They announced some mobile stuff instead, but maybe my vindication is coming. According to Game Informer, a listing on the Microsoft Store page recently posted says The Sims 4 is on its way to Xbox One and that players won't have to wait long to check it out. The page lists a release date of November 16th, 2017 for Xbox One. The game's full name is listed as The Sims 4 Deluxe Party Edition. The listing includes a pre-order bonus info explaining that a pre-order will get you the perfect patio stuff set. And EA, of course, no comment on this listing. But maybe...
That sounds super real.
I mean, maybe it is coming to Xbox One.
Party Deluxe. Well, it makes sense, right? The Sims eventually limp over here to the console versions, and now that they're so much similar to PC, why not?
Over?
Yeah. Trust me, I was playing on PS2. It wasn't as good as the other ones, all right? That's the problem there.
I mean, PS2 and Xbox One are dramatically different systems.
Okay, but still, it'll be the same thing where it won't be just as awesome as the PC version. Everybody will cry about it. What I'm really interested in when you talk about these PC to console conversions, right, is this City Skylines. You ever play this game?
No.
I like Cities when it came out, and I played a little bit of it, but I'd already put so many hours into SimCity that I'm like, I don't need this right now. And now they're finally bringing that over. I'm excited for it. It's next month on PlayStation 4, probably Xbox One is too, but PlayStation 4. But it's one of those I haven't seen how it works. I haven't seen how is it going to be good with a controller? Is it going to be garbage with a controller? That's the problem. Some people can't do that. They can't make that jump.
Well,
what?
Okay. I guess they can't make that jump. I don't know.
We'll see what The Sims does with it.
I don't know what kind of comment you're looking for.
I don't know. You said well. I thought you were building up to something at least to tell me to go to hell. Andrea, if I wanted to know what was coming out now, not later, like maybe The Sims, where would I go?
You would go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Nailed it. Yeah, I didn't weak at the end, but I'm going to still say nailed it.
Yeah,
nailed
but
it.
you can't say each and every day because that's false.
We
don't
lie all the time about what we do
No,
here.
but it's each and every weekday, so let's make it accurate. We're talking about the news here, Miller.
Okay, good addition. I've added in week for you. From now on, we'll have weekday in there. That'll really screw up Danny. All right. It's Tuesday, so it's hefty. Stick with me. Neo is getting some DLC today. Enjoy that. Aven Colony's coming to Xbox One, PS4, and PC. Fable Fortune, Xbox One and PC. Pyre, PS4. PC.
Looks so good.
We got questions coming up about that, so stick with us. Super Cloud built PS4 and PC. Fate Extella, right? Extella, the Umbral Star on Switch. Mafia 3 Sign of the Times DLC. A Healer Only Lives Twice PS4. Active Soccer 2 DX on PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Vita. Circuit Breakers on the PlayStation 4. Lego World Classic Space DLC on Xbox One, PS4, Steam. This is all coming to Switch this fall. Fortnite gets its official release date on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. Heroes of the Seven Seas comes to PlayStation VR. Infinite Mini Golf comes to Xbox One, PS4, Switch, and PlayStation VR. Lost Grimoires, The Stolen Kingdom comes to PlayStation 4. Polera comes to Vita. Pressure Overdrive comes to Xbox One and PS4. Smashbox Arena comes to PSVR. Tiny Tracks comes to PlayStation VR. And Unboxed Newbie's Adventure comes to Xbox One and PS4 after being released already on the Nintendo Switch.
So many games today.
While we're talking about Pyre, why don't we jump to a question? Remember, you can write in your questions, kindoffunny.com/KFGD. That PR guy wrote in and said, Pyre is out today. This game was playable last PSX, and it is easily my favorite game of that show. I couldn't stop telling people to stop by the booth and play it, and it's the only game I went back several times to play throughout the show. Do you think people are sleeping on this game? I think it has that Rocket League special sauce that will make it really shine. I'm excited to see how far this game goes, as it has the potential to carve out that competitive niche with its excellent gameplay. What's going to happen with Pyre?
Pyre is fantastic. They really have nailed a unique interactive, competitive experience that is gameplay that I've never really done before. Right. And it's really satisfying when you score, and the strategy, the progression of the level of strategy is really excellent. They take a concept that feels really simple at first, and then they keep throwing...
Spell it out to everybody. We did a Let's Play. It's up on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames when Greg Kasavin came in, I think, last year and talked about it.
Well, so it's like a 3v3 at the end of the day, like basic. And I haven't played PvP. Is there a PvP in this?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I know mainly about the story mode.
Yeah, I've just been playing the story.
Yeah.
So essentially what it is you have an orb, and you need to take the orb and dunk it into like the pyre of your enemy and light the orb on fire. And how you get the orb there is you kind of pass it between 3 characters. And like you start with 3, but then they add in different types of characters as you progress through the story. More people join your party, and then you can kind of choose who you want to bring into these rites. Mm-hmm. So at the rites, you go up against an enemy team. and they're trying to dunk the orb onto your pyre, and it's up to you to make sure that they don't do that. And so each character has a different movement speed. They have kind of a different ability. So the idea is don't let them take you out. You want to make sure to get to the pyre first.
Sure.
But explaining the actual individual specifics of how each character moves.
Yeah, there's different classes. And
it probably would be better if you watch the gameplay video.
Exactly. Pyre's interesting. The question didn't mention it. We didn't mention it too much. But this is Supergiant. These are the people who made Bastion, the people who made Transistor. This is their third game now, Pyre, coming out. We had another question that I didn't drop in here because it was similar to the same thing of like, what's going to happen with this game? Do you think it's going to find an audience? And they were concerned that they hadn't seen the same marketing they had seen behind Transistor or even Bastion on its re-releases, not so much its original release.
That's a fair concern. I also haven't seen the marketing around this game, and I'm not quite sure why, because the art style of this game is beautiful. The music is excellent. Darren Korb, of course, back composing, and it's a little concerning. Absolutely. I think the biggest problem for this game is how do you market this game?
100%.
Because the concept is a little off the wall and it's difficult to explain in like a single line or two.
And that's my problem with it, where here I think there's this, if you want to, I think the fact that you can't say concisely and shortly what Pyre is going to dramatically hurt it.
That's its problem.
And the way you talk about it, because that's how you talk about it and you describe the gameplay, makes it sound like a sport and a team sport kind of game. And like, I think whereas Rocket League, it's soccer with cars and you do crazy flips. That's fine. Whereas this is like 3v3, but you're trying to get the ball and you're trying to...
And it's like sort of turn-based, but not really turn-based.
Yeah.
It's more real-time.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's going to hurt word of mouth for it. Because right now, like, reviews are posted today, and they're all... The ones I've seen are all, like, insanely good. I think IGN gave it a 9.6 or 9.7. Like, it's up there, right? And so... I think it's going to be a critical darling. I think it's going to be one you see a lot of people you follow on podcasts and on Twitter talk about, but I don't know how that's going to transition to regular gamers. Because, like, for me, like, Greg came in, he showed it to us, I played it at the event, I played it there, I was like, awesome. And now that it's out, I'm like, don't get me wrong, super quality game, totally looks rad for people. It's not my kind of game. Like, that does, like, I love Transistor, I loved Bastion and I loved Transistor in the lead up to it and then never got back to finish it because I got distracted. But watching this game, I'm just like, this is awesome. I can tell this isn't a Greg game. Like, I can tell this isn't something I'm into.
I think that you're misjudging it.
You think so?
I think that you should give it a try.
Okay.
I think within the first 30 minutes, you'll be hooked.
Really?
And then you'll want to keep playing it.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be fascinating because I don't know if it'll get its hooks in everybody like that. Because when you review a game, you give it that chance and you have to do it. It's the job. So you play through it and you find it. And then for someone else, though, I don't know and the way people can't really describe it that well is going to work for it. If the way that it's not a departure because they do have the story. And that is, what I think of for Supergiant games.
And the characters that I've seen so far have just been so unique.
Yeah.
And from the art design to like the voice acting, like the sounds that they make, because there's like this, I don't want to call it a gibberish language, but it's really interesting that the way that they've combined text on screen with voice acting and the way that they connect each of the combat elements together through the story is something that I haven't really seen done in this particular style before. Trust that Supergiant is great at world building, that they make beautiful games that have fantastic music and really unique and interesting gameplay. Just give it a try.
I'll give it a shot. I'm just saying, like, I feel like at a glance, and I wonder if that's going to permeate to other people too. We'll see. We shall see.
It's a fair criticism.
We got new dates for you too. Metronomicon's coming out on PlayStation 4 on August 29th, Xbox One on August 30th. I Am Setsuna, the follow-up to I Am Setsuna, Lost Sphere launches on January 23rd, 2018. Ironcast is coming to the Switch on August 10th. Killing Floor 2 is coming to Xbox One August 29th. That's interesting. This is one of the ones you added.
Yes.
That was one of those. That was that Game Trust deal where the folks over at GameSpot and the Games Trust thing were publishing it on PlayStation 4 for a bit. Interesting.
I added another one. Rayman Legends Definitive Edition is coming on September 12th to Nintendo Switch. And then, so this Atari consoles thing I added in because it's a little confusing.
Super confusing.
So apparently they have like 6 different little mini consoles that are coming out now. And they announced the dates for them. So on September 1st, the Atari Flashback Portable Game Player, the Sega Ultimate Portable Game Player, the Atari Flashback 8 Classic Game Console, and the Classic Game Console are all coming out. on that day.
And this is not the Atari box or whatever, that weird thing they were talking about.
So the Atari Flashback 8 Gold and the Sega Genesis Flashback are coming out on September 22nd.
Let's go the opposite way of Nintendo. Instead of making one in a very limited fashion, make 1 million and put them out in weird bundles.
Also, why? Why do you need this many different versions?
You don't, and that's the thing.
I don't understand. I want to know who the marketing guy at Atari is that made this decision to not only have the most confusing marketing message, but how on earth is there a demand for all these different levels of console?
I'm the biggest Sega fan, so I'm going to buy the Sega Genesis Flashback and then the Sega Ultimate Portable Game Player. Why don't I just buy one?
Yeah, I mean, you could buy these similar things right now.
Exactly. Yeah, you can buy them on disc. You can just put them into your PlayStation 3 and play the Ultimates or download, different games.
I'm just really perplexed by this whole thing.
Mm-hmm. That's usually what I feel when Atari makes business decisions and announces them live. Let's check in with deals of the day. The games with gold for Xbox have been announced for August. You can get Slime Rancher. It's available August 1 through 31 on Xbox One. Trials Fusion, August 16th through September 15th on Xbox One. Bayonetta is available August 1 through 15 on Xbox 360 and Xbox One. And then Red Faction Armageddon, available August 16th through the 31st on Xbox 360 and Xbox One. Then you tossed in this one.
Yeah, so Focus Home Interactive is having a big sale. Some of their games are up to 75% off. And some of the top ones include Farming Simulator 17, The Surge, Styx, Divinity, Original Sin Enhanced Edition, and the Blood Bowl games. So those are for, I believe, Xbox One, but they also have some of their Xbox 360 games on sale if you're still rocking the 360.
Many are.
Yeah.
And good on you.
Yeah.
Let's check in with the readers. Remember, to be part of the show, go to kindafunny.com/KFGD, just like Michael Fody did. Michael Fody, I'm going to say. Says, good morning. After yesterday's talk of Pokemon Go's problems, Fortnite going down for maintenance, and many other games/services having unexpected problems, are people in the right to go to social media and ask for something in return? Should developers, whether paid or free to play, compensate players for these issues? It's a big question.
Greg.
Yeah.
My life philosophy. You can't get what you don't ask for. So if you feel slighted, go ahead and ask. The worst they're going to say is, no, I'm sorry, we can't help you.
Sure.
I don't think that you are entitled to compensation for server maintenance or server problems. It's some developers have the fantastic problem of having their servers go down because thousands or potentially millions more players join the online community than they were anticipating.
People lose sight of it all the time. Rocket League.
See, here's the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is we have a lot of our colleagues in the video game media business that make a point to tell people not to pre-order games. But you know why pre-ordering games is important? Because it helps developers determine server load. So if they say, we have 100,000 pre-orders for Fortnite, they know that they're going to need to at least accommodate for that many people. But maybe they only get 20,000 pre-orders, so they accommodate for like 50, and then 100,000 people come, and then they're like, well, crap. Now our servers are completely overloaded. We don't know how to balance this. It's going to take us a little bit of time to figure it out. So that's a good problem to have if you're Epic Games. Now, these numbers, for the record, I'm just pulling out of thin air.
Yeah,
these are just example numbers.
I didn't even know that. How do you know anything about this maintenance for Fortnite? I didn't know about it.
Well, I saw them tweeting about it and talking to some people online. I actually am having the developers from Fortnite come to the What's Good Games studio to do a stream of the game on Thursday. That's twitch.tv/what'sgoodgames. Shameless plug.
Do it.
So I'm really looking forward to playing this. I haven't had any server problems when I've played so far, but it's an issue. It's a problem, but that's why, if you are thinking about like, well, what do I get for this? I'm trying to have an experience. I should maybe get something back in return. Like, how do you determine what that is? Because, for example, like I said, I didn't have server problems. Maybe somebody else did. Like, where do you draw that line between like who gets what if you're going to like compensate people in some way?
And my thing is, I think there's a world of difference between what happened at Pokemon Go Fest and what happened with Fortnite maintenance.
Absolutely.
Or even when Rocket League did crash out, even though the Rocket League team was amazing afterwards. Because again, I think to your point of like pre-orders and then just how hard it is to get. Like, you can't. Rocket League comes out and it's PlayStation Plus. Nobody knows how many people are going to do that. And servers do cost monies. So servers do cost money. So if you are Rocket League, you are Psyonix, you're a small developer, you're not at the time sure what you're going to get. You can't overspend and have all these servers just in case.
That was Niantic's problem too, right? It was like with Pokemon Go, like they just weren't prepared for the massive influx of people.
Right.
And you can't just
At
like
launch.
at the time when you see your traffic doubling, tripling, quadrupling, you can't just like flip another switch and bam,
Exactly.
another
It's too
server
late.
goes
It's too late.
live.
It's gone. Yeah.
You know, like it's
Pokemon
it's
Go
a little-
Fest though, you sold tickets, you knew it was going to be crazy. That's a different
And
ball
at
of
that
wax.
point,
Yeah.
they should have got. I mean, you guys talked at length about it
Yeah, I
yesterday,
know, and
so
we're
we
not
don't
beating
need to
a dead horse. I'm
rehash
just
it
saying
here.
that
But
you were
like,
talking about Niantic's launch, where
Yeah.
how can you like you can sit there and say, well, it's Pokemon, it's going to be huge. Yeah, it's going to be huge. What does huge mean? What does huge mean to a
Right.
mobile market, into a jaded games industry that hates mobile? Like, where does that really net out in terms of what it's going to be? And so, yeah, I don't think that. I think you're making the right point. I don't think that there is a black and white yes or no answer to that. I think it is a sliding scale of like how bad and how fucked up is shit. And I think Friday the 13th, for all the warts it has, and it's about to come up again, is the fact that it was such a terrible launch in terms of server stability and all that stuff. So they did double XP weekend, and granted, I was trying to stream that day, and like the first hour of it was totally fucked up. But then they got it on track, and everything worked out. And we played, and we got. I played all weekend long. Last night I was playing, and kids were like, "Man, I missed double XP weekend." When it pops up, and you like barely scrape into 1,000 points, they're like, "Yeah, me too." But that's the give and take of where you're at right now in 2017 with video game development. Where ask, don't demand. That's always the thing, right? Of like, this is fucking broken. We hate you. I should get this free for this. Like, that's bad. But like, hey, like we were doing this. Hey, this personally happened to me. Talk to these Twitter accounts, because smaller studios, they need to listen to you. They have to listen to you. I mean, one of the I think keys to Rocket League's success and the longevity of that game is the fact of how great they've been to their community, is that they brought in all these people and then they kept a large majority of them because their game's fun. Here's free DLC. Here's all this content. Here's what we're doing. Here's esports. Here's this update. And they talk and they communicate. And that was, when Dunham was on the final PS I Love You XOXO, we talked about that in terms of like, even when they didn't have good news, they went and told you the news of like, all right, cool. Like, yeah, we understand we're trying to do this and we're updating you and this is where it is. And it's what you learn as you go. But I think part of this is just also the contract we as consumers sign when we buy a game, especially an always online game, right? Like,
right.
I know that when I was playing DC Universe, it would be down sometimes. And I know that playing Friday the 13th, sometimes something's going to happen, or Marvel Heroes, or blah, blah, blah. And like, there's all these different checks and balances, and you hope it isn't too long. But then there is the human side of it. Like, at some point, yeah, you need to go down for maintenance. And for Fortnite, leading into their giant launch today, after having, the soft launches and the content if you pre-ordered, getting there now of like, hey, this is fucked and we need to fix it at some point. So this is right. Might as well do it now.
This is why betas exist, right?
Yeah. And that's where, yeah. But then it's the same thing you're talking about, right? Of like, betas are great and like when they're used as real betas, but then it's also like, betas only give you so many people on your servers, so you can see little problems.
Totally.
But then,
yeah. I mean, in Fortnite did testing. Obviously, this game has been in development for years.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't predict how many people are going to jump into the servers when you hit the live button.
Yeah.
For everybody worldwide. So.
Next question comes from one of the best usernames I've seen in a long time, because there's no usenames. You can put one in wherever you want when you go to kindoffunny.com/KFGD.
It's pretty
but
good.
the name Dog Should Vote writes in and says, Greg, with your love for Friday the 13th, how do you feel about the recent blow up about the developer moving on to its next project? Had you seen this or heard about this, Andrea?
No, what's the hubbub all about? Tell me.
Eurogamer put out this piece that was not that they were putting out the piece like a hit piece, over on the forums for Friday the 13th. A thread had been started about people being upset that Ilphonic was abandoning Friday the 13th to work on Deadly Alliance, this other game. Eurogamer then put out a piece that was like, hey, fans are super mad about everything that's happening over here right now. Oh, the NES Classic bundles are back up. One includes a Mega Man helmet, it looks like.
What includes my Tetris lamp that I have on my set at home.
Oh my God. Talking about like, all right, cool, these people are all mad about this because it looks like they're moving on to this next game. And I was like, that's weird. What are you talking about? I jumped into it. Ilphonic has another game called Deadly Alliance that's in beta this month and in stores in August. And so when I saw this, my first reaction was like, are you fucking kidding me? Studios have multiple games going at any time. It's not like they just abandoned Friday the 13th yesterday to beta test this game to get it out in August. This has been going on and nobody knew about it. So this question all got it added, and then Friday the 13th tweeted out today while quote tweeting the Eurogamer article. They said 100% untrue. Support for Friday the 13th has actually increased. Development of Deadly Alliance started prior to Friday the 13th. No resources were shifted or affected. Then they went even further and put out a statement from Ilphonic CEO Chuck Berngardt. He says, I wanted to address the concerns that Ilphonic has abandoned Friday the 13th, the game, for Deadly Alliance. This is 100% not true. Most major and independent studios have multiple teams working on multiple projects at the same time. This is critical for the survival of a studio, especially with the ups and downs of the games industry. Deadly Alliance was started way before Friday the 13th, the game. It was a co-development by Psyop Games and Ilphonic, then titled Moving Hazard. Psyop Games released Moving Hazard to Steam Early Access well over a year ago, and it gained interest from Maximum Games for a console port. We've had a team who remained working on on what turned into Deadly Alliance for consoles that has always been separate from the Friday the 13th, the game team. Ilphonic still remains a small studio to this day, but we are growing. With the recent success of Friday the 13th, the game, we have been increasing our staff on the title. We originally had about 20 internal team members working on Friday the 13th game, and are now up to about 30 internal team members. We have also opened a second office that sole purpose is to support development of Friday the 13th, the game. In addition, we are continuing to staff up more team members for continued support of the game. So, we assure you, continued support for Friday the 13th, the game has not been abandoned. In fact, it's quite the opposite. So I was happy to have that, because otherwise it's just me saying what I think happens at game development studios. But yeah, now kids in the Friday the 13th forum post about this, there were people popping up being like, well, it's just another game they're working on. And then people being like, well, I don't ever want to hear them say that they're a small team and that's why it's taking longer. It's like, he's right, and this is how game development, this is actually the business of game development, that you have multiple projects with multiple publishers doing all these things to make money. So even when Friday the 13th servers take on water, and I know the Xbox One still has problems I hear about all the time from kids on the Reddit, you can't say, well, get the Deadly Alliance team off their thing, have them miss their milestones, have them fuck all that game up. No, there's people to serve, there's masters to serve on that are paying and helping the business go as well.
Right. It's frustrating hearing these kinds of arguments, because the fact is, as you like to say, that many of us don't know how they're dividing up their production resources. And a lot of times, why would developers ever feel at liberty to say, like, who's working on what? This is how many people are working on this team. These are our production deadlines over here. These are our obligations over here. And it's frustrating from a fan's perspective when other fans just get on their high horse about trying to bully the developer into being like, you're not supporting this thing I love anymore. But it's like, yeah, they are. Just give them a chance to show you that they are.
In such a small, because I joke around about, like, I didn't get a business degree. I don't know. I've never worked for a game developer. I've never made a game. I only know what I've heard and talked to from, and I'm not talking about like in our interviews, like with my friends over a beer who make games and how tough this is. And I don't think I had a great understanding of it, or maybe even an infantile understanding of it, until we started Kind of Funny. And suddenly we were running our own business. And suddenly it was that we'd go to our subreddit and people are like, or the YouTube comments, and people are like, these are such easy decisions and changes to make. Why aren't they doing them? And then you cut back to here and like, Kevin's up till 3 a.m. We're all fucking angry. We're all trying to make, and it's like, we know that that's a problem. Everyone, like the people who made Friday the 13th can look at their games and their servers and know that that's a fucking huge problem. But what on their list of to do things, how in bandwidth and ability, where can they get to and how do they fix that?
Well, but also it comes down to revenue, right? They can only continue working on the game as long as it continues to bring in revenue, or if they have, resources set aside at the studio in order to accommodate changes post-launch. So I haven't really seen, there is no microtransactions in that game, are there?
Kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. I don't think so.
I don't think there are.
You can't buy CP points or whatever to go buy like the perks and shit. So I don't think so.
Let me buy that stuff, because I would buy it.
Yeah, right. I fucking want the goddamn perk to start with the walkie-talkie. I have rolled so many fucking times for it and I never get it.
I have secured my order.
Oh, for your NES Classic? Did you not already have an NES Classic?
No, I never got one. Okay. But the two basic bundles are sold out already. So I got the Zelda bundle that comes with a Zelda backpack, and 2 Zelda cups and something else Zelda. But
why not?
There's only like 2 bundles that are still in stock.
Get over to Think Geek. You can get your own Chad while you're there too.
Yeah. That bundle's sold out.
Well, no, I mean,
you can get them individually.
Chad's just there.
If you want to just buy the puppet.
Yeah. Big Bad Beluga gets the honor of being the final question today. He wrote in, or she wrote in, to kindoffunny.com/KFGD, just like you can. It says, what are your favorite quote-unquote little things in games that pull you in? I always like games that leave your footsteps in the ground, like in Uncharted and Tomb Raider. Good water in games always impresses me as well. That's a good question. It's a hard one to answer, especially when you name stuff, because my first one would have been, I remember that first God, was it Uncharted 2 where they gave the contextual of like Nate's walking and he would reach out and like just let his hand run across a wall and stuff, like on the fly shit like that. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. And I think about in Rise of the Tomb Raider, in that first section as Lara, when she's walking and the snow crunches under her feet and she is leaving those trails. I was like, fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Those are great examples, but I think sound also is a big signifier for, things that you remember from games, like the sound of guns or the sounds of footsteps or the sounds certain characters make. If you think about a game like Mario Kart, since we were talking about that earlier, like the sounds of Mario Kart, the sounds that the items make, the sounds that the characters make, that's one of the reasons why we love Mario Kart.
Sure.
It's also one of the reasons why I love the Rabbids, which is why I'm super excited about Mario
Cross Rabbids.
Yes.
Yeah, Kingdom Battle.
Mario plus Rabbids.
Is it plus, not cross? I don't know.
It's not cross.
I'll
Kingdom's
figure it out
Battle.
one day. Yeah.
So I think sound design is also a big part of that as well. Water is a great example because there are so many times when I'm in a game and the water is amazing and I just stop and look at the water. That's how I felt about the skybox in Destiny and the skybox in Horizon Zero Dawn.
I know. I was gonna say for Horizon, it's the sun, right? Like when the sun would be setting or something and making a beautiful sunset and stop and look at that, you're like, holy shit.
Being able to, the draw distance in that game was so impressive. I kept wanting to go into photo mode and take photos.
I know.
But like in photo mode, the draw distance isn't as identifiable, but I remember being on a mountaintop and seeing like the tall neck, like way in the distance and going like, how did they pull that off? So many games like mess up the draw distance because you look out over a mountain and it's just like pixely in the distance, but they nailed it.
I had never gotten into a photo mode till Horizon Zero Dawn. And then I ended that game, I forget what it was, at like 89 or something that I put up on Instagram and stuff. It was insane how much fun it was and how cool it was. And of course then like a week later they put in a patch with like poses and all this stuff. I was like, no, damn it, I'm done now, but not for DLC. Can't fucking wait. Andrea, it's time to squad up.
Okay, let's do it.
This is where one of you best friends goes to kindafunny.com/KFGD, gives us your PSN name, your Switch ID, your Steam thing, wherever you need people to friend you so you have someone to play games with. Then all the other best friends playing that game hit you up. Today, Jamie Eddy wrote in with, I think, our first ever. Jamie writes in, needs help with his PlayStation VR. We need other PlayStation VR players to friend Jedi Knight, Jeddy. Or Knight. So like Jedi Knight, but Jedi Knight. Hi, Andrea and Greg. Thank you for listening and paying attention to who the host is going to be. I recently got a PSVR and have a lot of multiplayer games, but I'm mainly playing Eve Valkyrie, and I would love to play with the Kind of Funny best friends. So if there are any Kind of Funny best friends out there with a penchant for playing their games with a silly hat on their face, then please hit me up. All the best, Jamie, a.k.a. Jedi Knight. Hit up them Jedi Knights if you want to play some Eve Valkyrie with your PlayStation VR. Never played it. Played it at E3. Colin was super sold on it at the time. He talked about that being his VR moment. And then the game came out and neither of us ever played it.
I had trouble playing it because the movement of being in the cockpit of the spaceship was very jarring for me. Space flight games in general, I don't really get into.
Where there's no like sky or land below you.
It's something with nothing to anchor you.
Yeah.
I get really dizzy really quickly. So those kinds of games just aren't for me. But
I forget what it was. There was one of those. Maybe it was Eve or whatever. But I remember that. It was just being like, this is weird. Of like, it's just 360 degrees all the time. Like I can go any way, any different direction.
Which some people love, and that's what they were looking for. But I was like, this is really not good for my stomach. I need to go.
Andrea, are you ready to tell me what we got wrong today?
I will in 1 second, but I was wondering if Kevin or Andy or somebody can bring in the little bag that I brought with today. It is out by it's like a little brown bag.
Cool, Greg's making the move.
There, I brought you some gifts.
Huh? Me?
Well, I brought you a gift, and then I brought some games that you can either keep or give away.
Come on over. Thanks, Cool Greg.
Okay, so.
All right. So what's happening? Where this is from?
So my friends at PDP sent me a bunch of Pixel Pals. Do you know about these?
Ooh, yeah, I've seen them. Wow, it's a Batman Pixel Pal. Cool, Greg, that's cool.
It lights up. I don't know if there's batteries in it already, but
I'll try.
I have a box of games at home.
Okay, there's no better place to take Vita games. That
included a bunch of Vita games.
Oh,
and I was
what do we
like,
got here? Mutant Muds. Oh, both Mutant Muds.
Sorry, everyone
Risk
listening
of Rain, Mask of Deception, Demo, Period Cube, Farming Simulator 18, Darius Burst, and then Ray Gigante. Very nice. Thank you so much. We'll find these all nice homes. Yes, we love giving away games here.
Yes, you guys are great about giving away games. So find
Look at this light up Batman we got.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, right?
He's all pixely.
Hell yeah. Pixel Pal. I'm excited.
They have a bunch of different characters.
Okay.
They have Street Fighter. They have DC. They've got Marvel. If you guys are interested, they have a bunch. So thank you, PDP, for sending that over.
Thank you, PDP. And thank you, Andrew.
Okay, so
remember, go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong if you're ever watching us record it live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. Be our stat boy. Tell us what we screwed up.
first one, for the record, Niantic expanded the event radius by 2 miles in 2 days, allowing GoFest attendees to play all over Chicago and catch the rare event Pokemon outside of Grant Park. Also, Articuno and Lugia are available worldwide, currently working perfectly well. Mm-hmm. I probably said those names wrong because
That's fine. You're not
it's my
Pokemon
shtick
person.
to say Pokemon wrong.
What date is that? Is that from yesterday's show? We didn't even talk about that today. Well, I mean, we talked about Pokemon Go Fest.
Oh, it looks like it was.
Did we not clear the cache here?
Maybe you didn't.
Because I remember that one getting red because I was like, we didn't say anything about the radius today, but that might have been it. Yeah.
Yep, these are from yesterday.
No big deal.
Let me. Oh wait, there's a couple here. No, let me see.
25th. Yeah, you got any July 25th on there.
There we go. Yes, Pyre has PvP, and if you really want an SNES Classic, you can easily pre-order one from Scandinavia, where the official price is $200, DKK $12.99 converted. I randomly saw the price and thought it was a mistake, but no, that's the official pricing. Even taking the difference in income into consideration, that's a lot for a system. NES Classic was $90.
Yeah, don't
the
do that.
Xbox One S with Minecraft is actually the same price as an SNES
Don't
Classic.
do that. Don't do that.
Well, I guess if you really want one.
You can get it then. You'll be able to get it off eBay. I mean,
Yeah.
here in America, maybe for a similar price, but it'll be in America. Keep jobs in America.
Yeah. Okay. So the versus mode is offline only, according to
Pyre?
the person who posted after that.
Okay.
You play against the CPU. It's real time, not turn based. But then that's not PvP if it's offline only and you're playing against the CPU. That's not way PvP is
That's
people
PvE,
versus
yeah,
people.
Yeah.
Okay. Infinite Golf has not released in the Nintendo Switch eShop yet. Zen Studio states it is a problem on Nintendo's side, not theirs.
Thank you very much for that update. I won't count that as a wrong.
Fortnite did suffer from initial launch server issues for a few hours on July 21st for pre-orders, as should be expected. Problems such as the inability to connect to servers or join friends, pre-order bonuses not showing up, and losing construction progress on your fort. Those were the problems that people reported.
Thank you.
Last night, July 24th, was unscheduled and unexpected downtime. It was down for several hours due to the increase in people trying to jump in. The forum thread addressing the server status started around 9:30 p.m. and was last updated at 3:40 a.m. by Epic.
God dang.
Thank you, Greg and Andrea. Greg, when you said in Uncharted 2, Nate reaches out and touches walls, that was actually introduced in Uncharted 3.
Thank you very much.
That's it.
Okay, great. Thanks for keeping us honest over there. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily for Tuesday, July 25th, 2017. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can watch us record it live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, or you can watch it later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames or listen on podcast services around the globe. But no matter where you get it, please rate, subscribe, and share it with your friends. It means a lot to us. You can find us on Patreon, where there's a new party mode up right now, and Kinda Funny Live 3 is all there for your viewing pleasure. You can see Andrea's debut. Crowd goes wild for her and Danny. It's great. Andrea, thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
You're back on tomorrow's a Wednesday, so it's Danny. Oh, but then I need to talk to you about Thursday and Friday and stuff, because Danny's getting wishy-washy on some days. He's got to go take some trips and do
What?
some no-clip stuff.
Danny.
But what's your what's good games schedule?
I'll be here
is?
Thursday.
Okay.
Friday, I might not be able to cover for Danny.
Friday, aren't you doing? Is that your stream you're talking about, or is that when's your stream?
We have some business stuff to do.
But when's your stream for Fortnite? You're talking about Pimp That?
Thursday, 3 to 5 p.m.
Okay.
Pacific time.
Okay.
Twitch.tv/what'sgoodgames.
All right. Well, Danny will be here tomorrow, and we'll figure out the rest of the week from there. But until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.